Welcome to Career Spotlight Academy, your daily deep dive into the world of STEM careers and entrepreneurship, where we explore inspiring journeys and the skills needed to thrive. Let's dive in and explore today's Spotlight career.
Okay, so get this. Today, we're diving into the world of AI in healthcare.
Okay.
But not with your typical Silicon Valley prodigy. We're talking to someone who took like a completely unexpected path to becoming a leader in this whole field.
Yeah, it's fascinating how our assumptions about tech people, can be so off base.
Totally.
You just expect them to have coding imprinted on their DNA from day one.
Right.
But that's not always the case.
No, and Sarah Langston, the lead software architect of Visionary AI Systems, she's like the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
We're talking about a woman who's at the forefront of AI applications in healthcare.
Right.
But her journey started miles away from any tech hub. We're talking Olympia, Washington.
Really?
Yeah, Olympia, Washington.
It's almost like a case study in defying expectations.
Totally.
Yeah.
So imagine this. Sarah grows up with a fisherman father and a school teacher mother, surrounded by the natural beauty of the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Not exactly, a breeding ground for coding whiz kids, right?
And yet, even as a kid, you see these hints of this drive to understand how things work.
Right.
She wasn't building computers in her basement or anything,
Right.
but she was obsessed with puzzles, always, dissecting problems, searching for those solutions, that curiosity, that need to understand the why and the how.
Yeah.
It kind of foreshadowed her future in ways she couldn't have imagined back then.
It's like those hidden talents that just need the right opportunity to kind of emerge.
Exactly.
Right. So naturally, her first love, the natural world,
Okay.
environmental science at the University of Washington, to be exact.
Makes sense.
But then comes the plot twist.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. What is it?
The mandatory programming class, junior year.
Oh, wow.
Who knew that a course that most students dread would become this life-altering experience?
Right. It's amazing, right? How those things happen.
It's funny how life works like that.
Yeah.
You're going down one path,
Yeah, hold on.
and then bam, a detour throws you in a whole new direction.
Yeah, and for Sarah, that detour led her straight to the power of code.
Power of code, okay.
But initially she saw it as, kind of cold and personal, almost like the antithesis of her beloved natural world.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. But then something clicked.
That aha moment.
Exactly.
Right.
She recognized that code wasn't just about ones and zeros.
Right.
It was a language, a tool to unlock deeper understanding, to reveal these hidden patterns within these complex systems.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with her, even in the context of environmental science.
So give me an example. How did she actually apply coding to her environmental work?
So instead of, like most of her peers, manually analyzing data for those environmental reports,
Right.
Sarah taught herself to build algorithms
Okay.
that automated the entire process.
Wow.
And these algorithms, they didn't just crunch numbers, they actually revealed these subtle correlations,
Right.
trends, anomalies, things that would have been nearly impossible to spot otherwise.
So she's not just doing the work, she's building the tools to elevate the work, right?
Precisely. And that's when you start to see the shift.
Okay.
It's no longer just about environmental science.
Right.
It's about the power of technology to enhance any field,
Yeah.
to uncover these insights that would otherwise remain hidden.
Right.
And get this, she decides to double down,
Okay.
pursues a master's in computer science while still working full-time.
Talk about dedication.
It speaks volumes about her drive,
Yeah.
her hunger to master this new language and explore its full potential.
Yeah.
And it's during this time that, the seeds of her future in healthcare, they begin to sprout.
So she goes from analyzing ecosystems to analyzing human health data.
Yeah. It's not as much of a leap as you might think, though.
Okay.
Remember that fascination with complex systems? With uncovering hidden patterns.
Yeah.
Well, whether it's predicting weather patterns or disease outbreaks,
Right.
the underlying principles are surprisingly similar.
Okay.
It's all about data analysis, modeling, and prediction.
So it's like she developed this superpower for spotting connections where others see chaos?
Exactly. But even superheroes stumble, right?
Oh, no.
And Sarah's master's project, It threw her a real curveball.
Okay.
She was developing this complex predictive model for disaster response,
Okay.
but it kept crashing.
Oh, no.
Imagine the pressure of trying to create a system that could potentially, save lives.
Right.
Only to have it fail repeatedly.
Yeah, that must be disheartening, especially for someone as driven as her.
It was a major setback, but it taught her a valuable lesson.
Which is it?
Sometimes simplification is key.
Okay.
She had fallen into that trap of overcomplicating the solution,
Right.
trying to account for every single variable.
Yeah.
In her quest for, perfection, she lost sight of the bigger picture.
It's like that saying perfect is the enemy of good.
Exactly. And that realization that
Yeah.
sometimes the most elegant solutions are the simplest,
Right.
that stayed with her.
Great.
It became a guiding principle throughout her entire career.
So she bombs her master's project, walks away with this profound realization that ends up shaping her entire approach to problem solving.
Yeah.
It's like a metaphor for life or something.
Right.
And it kind of sets the stage for her next big move.
Right.
The one that takes her from environmental science to the cutting edge of AI in healthcare. All right, so Sarah's fresh out of grad school, armed with this newfound appreciation for elegant solutions.
Right.
And what does she do? Applies for an internship at Visionary AI Systems,
Okay.
a company using AI to, you guessed it, diagnose diseases.
Talk about a leap of faith.
Right.
I mean, here she is, an environmental scientist with coding chops, diving headfirst into the world of healthcare.
Yeah.
It takes guts to put yourself out there like that, especially when you don't fit the typical mold.
Right. You'd think a cutting-edge AI startup would want someone with a background in like bioinformatics or something.
Yeah, you'd think.
But Visionary AI, they saw something special in Sarah.
Yeah.
They recognized that her unconventional background was an asset, not a liability.
Right.
It gave her a unique perspective, a fresh set of eyes to approach these challenges in a way that someone who'd always been immersed in healthcare might not. And that's exactly what happened. One of her first big projects was developing an AI tool to predict heart disease.
Okay.
But this wasn't just about building an algorithm that could spit out accurate predictions.
Right.
It had to be something that doctors who aren't necessarily tech wizards could understand and trust.
Yeah, because even the most sophisticated AI is useless if clinicians don't understand how it works or why it's making certain recommendations.
Yes.
It's about building trust transparency and seamless integration with, existing medical practices.
Totally. And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Sarah's team, initially they went all out,
Okay.
creating these incredibly powerful and incredibly complex models.
Yeah.
We're talking black box AI, where even the engineers were scratching their heads trying to decipher every nuance of the algorithm decision-making process.
Ah, the classic dilemma.
Right.
Pushing the boundaries of what's technically possible.
Yeah.
Without always considering those practical implications.
Exactly. And in healthcare, that lack of transparency can be a deal breaker.
Oh, absolutely.
Doctors need to understand the why behind an AI's predictions
Right.
to reconcile it with their own medical training and experience.
Yeah, it's like being told to trust a recipe without knowing the ingredients or the process.
Right.
You might end up with a delicious meal, but wouldn't you feel more confident if you understood how it came together?
Totally. And Sarah, to her credit, she recognized this early on.
Good for her.
Instead of getting bogged down by this initial roadblock, she dives even deeper into the world of healthcare.
Really?
She doesn't just stay siloed in the tech space.
Yeah.
She goes out and seeks to understand the perspectives of the people who will actually be using the tool.
Interesting.
She starts shadowing doctors, attending medical conferences, even picking the brains of medical ethicists.
Wow.
To ensure the ethical implications of AI are being carefully considered,
Of course.
she realizes that to bridge the gap between AI and healthcare, she needs to become fluent in both languages.
It's like she's building a Rosetta Stone for AI and medicine, facilitating communication and understanding between two worlds that often struggle to see eye to eye.
Exactly. And the
Nice.
result?
Okay.
She and her team completely revamped their approach.
Okay.
They didn't sacrifice accuracy, but they prioritized transparency and user-friendliness.
Right.
Creating an AI tool that not only made accurate predictions, but also explained its reasoning in a way that doctors could easily grasp.
That's fantastic. It's a testament to the power of collaboration, of stepping outside your comfort zone and seeking to understand different perspectives.
Right.
And it really cemented Sarah's reputation as a rising star at Visionary AI.
But her journey wasn't just about technical brilliance.
All right.
It was about leadership. She quickly rose through the ranks,
Okay.
going from individual contributor to leading a team of brilliant, but sometimes, let's face it, quirky developers.
Yeah, and that transition from coding whiz to team leader can be surprisingly challenging.
Right. Sarah openly admits that she battled imposter syndrome early on,
I can imagine.
going from being the go-to coder to managing people making strategic decisions.
Right.
It's a whole different ballgame.
It's that moment when you realize that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about empowering others to find them.
And that's exactly what Sarah did.
How so?
She fostered a culture of open communication where her team felt comfortable sharing ideas, challenging assumptions, and even admitting mistakes.
Wow. So she created a safe space for experimentation,
Yeah.
for brainstorming,
Yeah.
and yes, even for occasionally falling flat on their faces.
Because for Sarah, failure wasn't the opposite of success.
Right.
It was a stepping stone.
It's that growth mindset, that willingness to embrace failure as a learning opportunity
Total.
that sets truly great leaders apart.
And it created this incredibly dynamic and innovative team culture at Visionary AI.
You love to see it.
But it wasn't just about the work. Sarah also wanted to make a difference beyond the walls of the company.
This is where her passion for making AI-driven healthcare accessible to everyone comes in right.
So we've got Sarah, this incredible leader, right? Building this powerhouse team over there at Visionary AI.
Right.
But then it's like she takes it a step further.
Okay.
It's like not only can she code and lead, but she's got this whole other mission going on.
It's that awareness, I think,
Yeah.
that cutting-edge technology, it shouldn't create a wider gap in healthcare.
Right. Yeah.
It should actually help bridge it.
Exactly. She's all about making AI-driven healthcare accessible to everyone,
Okay.
not just those who can afford, the latest and greatest gadgets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's where her personal passion project comes in.
All right, spill the beans. What's she cooking up on the side?
Okay, so picture this. AI-powered diagnostic tools, right?
Okay.
But they're affordable, they're easy to use, even in remote areas with limited resources. We're talking telemedicine platforms that connect patients in these underserved communities with specialists all around the world.
It's like taking the power of AI
Yeah.
and turning it into a force for good.
Totally.
Like democratizing access to quality healthcare.
Exactly. And get this, she's even developing educational resources
Right.
to empower healthcare workers in these communities
Yeah.
with, the knowledge and skills to actually utilize these AI tools effectively.
So it's not just about providing the technology.
Right.
It's about building capacity, making sure that people have the tools and the training
Totally.
to harness that full potential of AI for the benefit of their communities.
It's like she's not just changing the game, she's rewriting the rule book
Totally.
and making sure that everyone has a chance to play.
And it all goes back to this woman from, a small town in Washington with a passion for puzzles and this deep love for the natural world.
Right.
Ends up revolutionizing healthcare through AI. It's like all those, seemingly disparate pieces of her journey,
Yeah.
those unexpected detours,
Right.
they were all leading her to this point.
It's like life is full of these hidden patterns.
Yeah.
These connections that we don't always see at the time.
Right.
But when you look back, it all makes sense.
It really makes you think,
Yeah.
what seemingly unrelated passions or skills do we have
Right.
that could be the key to unlocking our own unique contributions to the world?
It's true. It's like Sarah's story is this reminder that the most impactful paths are often the ones we least expect. I mean, who knew that a detour into a mandatory programming class could lead to revolutionizing healthcare?
It's incredible.
Kind of inspiring when you think about it.
It really is. Sarah Langston's journey is a testament to the power of, embracing the unknown, of
Yeah.
following your curiosity
Right.
and using your unique skills and experiences to make a real difference in the world.
So to everyone listening, maybe it's time to, dust off that old telescope in the attic or finally sign up for that coding class you've been putting off.
Yeah, why not?
You never know where it might lead.
Exactly. It might just surprise yourself.
It might just change the world.
You never know.
Thank you for joining us at Career Spotlight Academy, where we explore the future of STEM careers and entrepreneurship. Visit us online at www.careerspotlight.academy for more insights and resources.